Here we are at the laser cutter. What we're trying to do here is have open access to the laser cutter while maintaining its working fashion. That means it is your job to make sure that the machine is working before you leave. If it malfunctions or if it breaks, you should notify either Kirk or a technician that is on duty so that they can order the parts necessary to get it back and running. So we're going to start over here with the cutter and our exhaust system. You do not have to worry about turning on the exhaust system because it will turn on automatically upon you pressing start on your cut file. But you do need to turn on the laser cutter. To do that, there's a simple pin switch right over here in the top left hand corner. You turn that on, you can hear some fans turn on, you'll hear some lights turn on, and more importantly, you'll see the cut table move all the way down to its lowest position. It's your job to bring the cut table back up so that it's correctly focused for your cut file. To do that, you go over here to the button interface. You need to manually focus the laser head so that it's at its most optimum distance for the laser to properly cut your material. Now to do that, these 6 buttons right here move the laser head. These 4 buttons move the laser head in the X and Y positions. So when I press this, you can see how the laser head moves. To move the table in the Z position, you use these 2 buttons right here. The up button simply means up, and the down button simply means down. Now, I want to cut something, so I'm going to move the table about 2 inches before this laser head. It's important that you raise the table up before it comes in contact with the laser head. Of course, you do not want to have contact with the laser head because it will cause damage, so just be careful during this step. So I'm going to stop right around there. That's not the proper focusing distance, but I'm stopping there because there's a tool that you are using to properly focus the laser head. Before we get there, I'm going to go over the rest of the buttons. This button right here, the pause button, will stop the current process that the laser is doing. So if you see any signs of a flame, or if you just want to stop the laser cut, you can press this button and it will stop the current line it is on. It will stop at the end of that line. It won't stop in the middle, it will stop at the end of that line. This button right here is their standby button. The laser automatically goes into standby, so you do not have to press this button. This button right here is your exhaust button. If you want to manually turn on the exhaust, you can press this button. But the fan automatically turns on once you press start. But I'm just going to show you. Once you press the button, you can start to hear the fan turn on, and that's the exhaust, but I don't want that on right now, so I can just turn it off. This button right here is your start or restart button. By pressing this button, it will start whatever you have loaded in your Trotec program. If you want to restart your cut, if you want to reset it, you can also press this button and it'll restart the cut, your last cut. This button right here is your shift key. When pressed with a combination of other keys, it will operate the laser. It'll have a second operation. It'll have a second layer of operations for these keys. You do not have to worry about those. This light right here is your laser indicator. This light will flash whenever the laser is emitted. It's more so of a warning light to notify you that the laser is being emitted. This flashing green right here is your status light. There's different combinations of this light that will notify you what the laser is doing. Now, I want to focus my laser head. I want to correctly focus it. What I mean by focus is I want to provide the correct distance between my material and my laser head. This distance is dependent on your material thickness. So if my material is thicker, the distance between the laser head and my material is going to change. So since I'm using 1/16 right now, the distance is going to be different than if I'm using 1/8 inch. So that means that if you're changing materials, that you need to refocus your laser head before you start that print. If you do not correctly focus your laser head between different material thicknesses, you are putting your material at risk for burning and also causing a flame. So that could start a fire. So to correctly focus the laser, there's a tool right here. It should always be put back in this spot so that the next person can use it and that you don't ever lose it. So you have your handle here that you hold it by, and you also have this little brass ledge that you're going to be using to hang the focusing tool on the side of the laser head. So using its correct orientation, you simply put the tool on the side of the laser right here, and it just hangs just like that. Now what you're going to be doing is tapping your up key for the table to move up, so that it will tap the tool off of the laser head. It will simply just fall off, and that's how you know your laser head is correctly focused. So I'm tapping it. Tap, tap, tap. Just like that. Simply the tool falling off the laser head, that's how you know that your laser head is correctly focused. Now, you grab the tool and you put it back in its spot. Now that our laser is correctly focused and everything looks like it's working properly, and I don't have any other scrap material in here, I can go ahead and close the lid, and I can move on to setting up my Trotec cut file.